All right, so today we are welcome to another practice section organized by the Unified Nurses. This is a group of nurses that call colleagues to greatness. So we thank God for every of the results we received today, which are quite encouraging. We appreciate God for that. So today we are just going to be reviewing the test we had yesterday. And like I said, it's the same principle to be applied to every IELTS question as it were. So we can apply the same principle that we are going to learn today, the same line of thought. We can think through our questions, okay, and arrive at the answers confidently, all right, and then saving time. So I'm going to go to that questions. It was taken from Cambridge IELTS 8, that is the one of 2010. That now, new share. Okay, I'm trying to, okay, good. So I'm sure everybody can see my screen. So this is Cambridge IELTS test 4, then reading passage. What reading passage is this? Test 4, I think reading passage 3. Oh, reading passage 1. Okay, test 4, reading passage 1. So the left side, my left PDF will be the one for my passage, while the one on my right will be for the question. So I'll move this one to the passage, the land of the rising sun, and this will be for the question. So let's start. You should spend 20 minutes on question 1 to 13. So question 1 to 5 is list of headings. Okay. And section A has been done for us. So we have questions 1 to 5, which is section B to F. And we are to write the correct number, Roman numeral 1 to 9 in boxes provided in the answer sheet. Those instructions are quite important. So we start the passage, the land of the rising sun. So what you do is anytime you have a passage, knowing fully well that in any IELTS reading exam, it usually consists of 3 passages and there are 40 questions. So 3 passages for 13 questions in each to make about 40 questions overall. So since you are going to be treating the passage, answering 13 questions, which might come under different question types, as we will see in this case, we have list of heading, we have yes, no, not given question type, and we have MCQ under this passage alone. Okay, so since you are going to be doing that, you will have to have a quick understanding of what the passage is all about. That should be the first thing, even before looking at the question or whatsoever you find comfortable. But I advise you just quickly look at the question. So the title says the land of the rising sun. So that doesn't really tell me much, but I will skim through the passage in 2-3 minutes to see what it's talking about. Okay, so I start from paragraph A. So this is called skimming. So what I'm going to do is to read the first 2 sentences or plus the first 2 sentences, probably the first and the last. And in some cases, I might read just the first 2 sentences plus, including the last. So as not to confuse you, I'm going to read the first sentence, very important, and the last. And in some cases, I might add the second sentence to it, okay? Having said that, basically, I just want to have an understanding of that passage, okay? So paragraph A says, so I'm going to annotate certain things, probably not yet. Japan has a significantly better record in terms of average mathematical attainment than England and Wales. Okay, so I'll go to the last sentence there. The percentage of GMP spent on education is reasonably similar in the two countries. So how is this higher and more consistent attainment in math achieved? So from A, at least I'm beginning to understand that this passage is likely going to be a comparison between Japan and the UK. The UK in BBC will say England and Wales. You know, at times they just mention that, but you know that UK consists of 4 countries. In case you want to use it during your writing, which are England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. But in this case, they are looking at comparison between Japan mathematical attainment vis-a-vis England and Wales, okay? So first one tells me that Japan has significantly better record, okay? Yet they have the same GMP. So why is there this consistent difference? Okay, that's what I know paragraph A is talking about. So that tells me from the last sentence in paragraph A that is likely going to be about the factors. You know, the writer is likely going to talk about what had made Japan to achieve those attainments, okay? In B, lower secondary school in Japan covered three school years, from the 7th grade, age 13, to the 9th grade, age 15, okay? Then I'll read the second. Virtually all pupils at this stage attend state schools. Only 3% are in the private sector. Good for them. The last one says teachers begin with a formal address and mutual bowing and then concentrate on, oh, sorry, that's not even the last. Pupils attend the school in their own neighborhood, which in theory removes blah, blah, blah. In practice in Tokyo, because of the relative concentration of schools, there's some competition to get into better school. Okay, thank you. At least paragraph B is talking about the setting in Japan, how their let's say lower secondary school looks like in Japan, okay? And the fact that they all attend public school, and I will assume that they will describe more about that in every other thing in between, okay? In C, traditional ways of teaching form the basis of the lesson, and the remarkably quiet classes take their own note of the point made by the example demonstrated, full stop. So I've seen textbook there. I'll move on to the last sentence. So it starts from these textbooks anyway, but I'll just take note of, besides approving textbooks, Mombusho also decide the highly centralized national curriculum and how it is to be delivered. So because I'm saying Mombusho alone here, I might want to read about what Mombusho is, but that's not my concern for now. I'm still going to read them in details. So in C, lessons all follow the same pattern. In C, they are talking about how the math class look like in Japan, okay? And indeed, in B, they talk about the school. In C, they talk about the math class, okay? You can see the flow. And indeed, lessons all follow the same pattern. At the beginning, pupils put, so it's still the same thing they are talking about here, but there must be something else they want to tell us, okay? At this point, the teacher will circulate and make sure that all pupils were coping well. So they talk about homework, and I'm sure there are other information in between. It is remarkable that large mixed ability classes could be kept together for maths throughout all their compulsory schooling from age 6 to 15. Carefully fostered class identity makes pupils keep, oh, sorry, that's not the last one. It might be important to be reading the last point, the last sentence in this as they divided it, okay? It might be important anyway, but I'll go to the last one. Where are you? Parents are kept closely informed of their children's progress and play parts, blah, blah, blah. If extra help is needed, and encourage them to it seems to work, at least 95% of the school population. So without wasting your time, you know what I'm trying to do. So I'm skimming through the passage just to have an idea. So, and paragraph F say, so what are the major contributing factors in the success of math teaching? They have talked about many things. So these provide a concluding sentence, like a conclusion to the whole passage, which is all about why. What are the contributing factors to the success recorded in Japan in their math attainment, which was just the answer to the last statement in paragraph A. All right. Now I know they are talking about maths, blah, blah, blah. So what is section A saying? That has been done for us. Really? So it's likely that Zoom meeting will end soon, but if that happens, just come back to, just click the same thing again, okay? The same link again. All right, section B, section A has been done for us, which is research findings concerning achievements in math, which was taken from this place. There is a difference between Japan and English and England and Wales mathematical attainment. However, they talked about large sample international comparison of pupils' attainment since 1960 have established that not only did blah, blah, blah. So he talked about a research, okay? So they've done that. I won't worry so much about that, okay? So section B, lower secondary schools in Japan cover 3 school years. Lower secondary schools in Japan cover 3 school years from the 7th. So it's talking about lower secondary school. So let's look at how we can arrive at the answer. This is lower secondary school, age 13 to 15, okay? Virtual at this stage attend state schools, okay? Only 3% are in private. So it's telling us about how the education in Japan looks like. And you know, we talked about teacher begin with a formal address and mutual bowing and then concentrate on the whole, blah, blah, blah. Then let's see the last thing. In practice in Tokyo, because of the relative concentration of schools, there is some competition to get into better school in a particular area. So the major point here is that this passage is talking about the lower secondary school in Japan, okay? And this provides more understanding that, okay, they attend state schools, blah, blah, blah. How is the classroom? How does the classroom look like? Okay, these are answers to like an overview of what the lower secondary school in Japan, the school looks like, if you agree with me. Then what do they do in the classes? That is what the teacher does. How does the class look like? You understand? Then what do people stay in school? Do they stay in school? Is it different from England? Blah, blah, blah. You understand? So people attend the school. So let's look at the headings. No mention of Mombucho, so that's out. Let me annotate now. Sorry, I forgot that. So this is what this place is really talking about. Lower secondary school. This is schools, lower secondary school in Japan, okay? This is what this whole place is talking about, like providing how an overview, okay? How the class look like, which type of blah, 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 okay? So the influence of Mombucho, no. Helping less successful, they haven't talked about. The success of compulsory education, there's nothing like that. Research findings concerning achievement in math, and no, I shouldn't be reading this one at all. The typical format of a math lesson, would it be this one? Format of a math lesson? No, I think they are talking about school. It's more than just a math class. Comparative expenditure, no, there's nothing about spending. Background to middle years education in Japan. So this one looks more like it. It's providing an overview. But then, is it a middle school? The key to Japanese successes in math education, they haven't talked about any factor at all. The role of homework in they haven't really talked about homework in paragraph B, okay? So this um, looks more like it, the background to middle years education in Japan. So we know it was talking about age 13 to 15, which is the same thing, honestly. That is what they call the middle years. Let's see. Yeah, you agree with me that this is the answer. It's just an overview of how the secondary school looks like for the students in Japan. All right. I'll move on to number 3. Number 3 is one of the, no, no, number 2, sorry. Number 2. Let me clear all that. If you have any question, let me know, please. Just unmute and let me know. Okay, now, section C. Section C. Traditional ways of teaching. Ways of teaching. So ways of teaching, okay? So this must be talking about the ways of teaching, how they teach, okay? Mode of teaching, okay? Then everyone has their copy of textbook. Don't forget to mention Mombusho here. I have Mombusho here in the passage, in the list of headings. I am going to be careful about this, okay? So, sorry, I'm having it, what am I supposed to do with this? Okay, so traditional ways of teaching, blah, blah, blah. Then they mentioned Mombucho. I'm not going to forget that. So, I said, and then they said, besides approving textbooks, Mombucho also decides the highly centralized national curriculum and how it is to be delivered. So because they mentioned Mombucho here, I'm going to look at what is it about Mombucho? Because this one talks about the traditional ways of teaching form the basis of lesson and remarkably quiet classes, take their own notes and blah, blah, blah. And this one tells us that Mombucho decides the national curriculum. So it's like this place is likely going to be about Mombucho. Who knows whether even this one we are talking about is all about Mombucho, okay? So everyone has their own copy supplied by Central Education. So it's a Central Education Authority as part of the concept of free education up to the age of 15, okay? These textbooks are the whole small blah, blah, blah. So I now know that Mombucho, the influence of Mombucho, what Mombucho is doing is this place is talking about, okay? Now, how do I arrive at that? This itself is a product of, is a subset of the activity of Mombucho, okay? It's because they set curriculum, they tell them what to do, they tell the teachers what to teach and how to teach, how to get it across to the students, okay? So this passage, this paragraph is more about Mombucho, okay? That is how to know. But let's look at the list of headings. I don't want to conclude that this is the answer yet. Let me let us know the success of compulsory education. Now, someone will say they mention compulsory education. So they mention compulsory education, but did they talk about anything about success? Okay. And even if they have mentioned success, you have to look at the context at which they have mentioned it, okay? So you are not looking for word match in list of headings. You are looking for the central theme of this passage. What are they trying to communicate in, okay? So this passage could have been that, could have started with this one. We should decide how education, the national curriculum of Japan is being delivered. So traditional ways of teaching, they have prescribed traditional ways of teaching, blah, blah, blah. You understand, okay? So you are not looking for the same word list. You are looking for the same meaning, okay? Research findings concerning achievement in maths, no, sorry. The typical format of, no. So if you look through all of them, you find that